Hello and welcome to the CAP Institute's webinar, How to Generate Your First $10,000 as a Personal or Executive Coach. I'm Valerie Burton, founder of the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute, and I'm really excited to get to share the information in this webinar with you. I want to start off by asking you to do something really important, and that simply is to give yourself the gift of focus right now. It can be so easy to multitask, to do lots of things at once, but obviously you're really interested in this subject. And if you're really interested, one of the most important things you can do as a coach is learn to listen mindfully. So I'm just inviting you to give yourself that gift right now, to be able to focus and really absorb all that we're going to talk about, because I truly believe that if you get it, if you really put this information to use, you're going to see forward movement and traction in growing a coaching practice. So turn off all your background distractions, email, notifications, texts, your television, anything that's going to keep you from getting what you came here for. And just give yourself that opportunity to learn these new strategies and these truths that really can transform your future. You ready? All right, let's get started. So tell me something. Do you have a desire to be a highly successful coach, but either you haven't taken the first step or sometimes you feel like you're spinning your wheels? So many people are there. I know there was a point in time where I was there as well. If that's the case, I just want you to know you are not here by accident. So does any of this sound familiar? You're intrigued by the idea of helping transform people's lives while simultaneously earning a great living with the freedom to set your own schedule. Or you're already a coach. Perhaps you've even had some success at it, but you're not where you'd hoped in terms of the number of clients that you have or your profitability. Or this. You're planning a career transition, whether it's retirement, a move, or maybe just going to an entirely new career field. And you want to start preparing now so that you can seamlessly move into a new phase that allows you to earn a great living at your own pace. But you know what? A lot of times, even though the vision is exciting, you're just not sure quite how to bring it to life. Or this. Perhaps you work within an organization and you want to incorporate coaching into your skill set to better affect change and become more valuable and indispensable in your role. If any of these, I'm sure at least one of them connects with you, maybe all of them connect with you, maybe two or three of them do. You're in the right place. So just hold on tight. I want you to stay tuned because if you get through this entire webinar, or rather when you get through this entire webinar, I've got a nice bonus for you. It's the ultimate list of coaching client markets. Now, this is particularly important for coaches because oftentimes as a coach, it's difficult to see what all of the different niches and opportunities are. So if you're trying to figure that out on your own, with the limited information you have, and when I say limited information, I simply mean that when we're coming from our own perspective, there's only but so much that we've been exposed to. We have compiled a list, an ultimate list of client coaching niches and markets, talking to multiple coaches from multiple backgrounds, and really put together a list of all the different markets that you can consider, and you might determine and really figure out that there's some markets you are uniquely qualified for that you did not even realize. So I think this is a really helpful resource and tool, and I want to be able to share it with you. So just get to the end of this webinar and I will tell you exactly how to access it. Also, I want you to remember, if you hear anything you love in this webinar, feel free to tweet it out, put it on Facebook. We have a hashtag for the CAP Institute's coach training programs, and it's simply hashtag CAPCTI. So it's really great because hashtag CAPCTI, we all get to see what we've been saying about CAP and our CTI programs. So here's what you're going to learn today. Number one, the 5 common mistakes that are the reason that many coaches struggle to reach their income goals. And this is a problem that is solvable, that it's something that so many coaches deal with. And I don't want you to have to struggle. There's no need to struggle. There's no need to be able or to have to reinvent the wheel. Next, we're going to talk about the key traits that every coach in the top 10% of income earners have in common. Okay, you want those traits, but before you can make sure you have those traits, it's important to know, what are they? Next, 5 steps that you must take first and maintain in order to generate your first $10,000 and then to build a 6-figure income. I have found that for most coaches, that's the ultimate goal, but we have to start somewhere. And that's why this webinar is specifically about the first 10,000, because if you can get that first 10,000, you can replicate the strategies that you use to get there over and over and over again to build your income. And then lastly, we're going to talk about why it becomes easier, not harder, over time to earn a great income. So let me just tell you a little bit about me. You may find some of yourself in my journey. It may help you understand why I founded the CAP Institute and why I'm so passionate about sharing how to build up a successful coaching practice. So I was running my own public relations firm. My background was in journalism, and I'd always wanted to have my own business since I was a kid. I was very entrepreneurial, and so it made sense to combine my background in journalism with entrepreneurship in the form of a PR firm. But what I found very quickly is that PR was not my passion. It wasn't. I was good at it, but it wasn't my calling, and I began really wondering, what am I here for? That was a really important question. Frankly, it was a great coaching question, even though I didn't know at the time what coaching was. And so coaching in itself really transformed my life when I had an epiphany about my life purpose, that literally I meant to inspire others to live more fulfilling lives, that I would do it through writing and speaking. I had this epiphany while standing in a bookstore. I was at a journalism convention in Seattle years ago, and I immediately began writing and soon discovered coaching. For me, coaching literally changed my life. So I was running my PR firm, and I decided, you know what, I know this is what I'm meant to do. I know I'm supposed to be inspiring others. And so I made my passion, my newfound passion, my side hustle. I wrote a book. Literally within about 3 weeks of having that epiphany in the bookstore, I started writing the book. I didn't want to wait for a publisher to tell me it was good enough. I self-published it. I knew I wanted to get a big publisher to pick it up later, and that's exactly what happened. And as I promoted the book, I started getting invitations to speak. And so it was less than 2 years later that I was able to make the leap and pursue my inspiration full-time. But it was not easy. It wasn't. Writing and speaking as a career path for me required a lot of tenacity and sacrifice, because I was not making a lot of money doing it, although there was nothing else in the world that I'd rather be doing. I wanted to stick with it. I also needed to find that way to be able to stick with it until it really all came together. And so that's part of how coaching came in. So writing and speaking really was a labor of love. It wasn't a great source of income. And I discovered coaching. I discovered coaching in part because the work I was doing as a writer and a speaker was about personal development. And I discovered that coaching was the one-on-one of what I was writing and speaking about. And when I first became trained as a coach, I literally felt like I had found my people. Other coaches were people who loved personal development, who absolutely were curious about life and how to transform your life, how to grow, how to bounce back from setbacks, how to set a clear vision, how to be purposeful in life, how to make transitions in career, how to have the body that you really want, how to manifest more money, get out of debt. I mean, all of the things that make up a really great life. How can you be happier? How can you set authentic goals? All of that stuff was so exciting to me. So when I met other coaches, and maybe you feel this way too, even as you're listening to the things I'm talking about, it excites you to think about helping people in those ways. I felt like I'd really found my people, people who love personal growth and people who made a living at helping others create personal growth for themselves. Coaching changed everything for me. It really, really did. It was a turning point for my business. It empowered me to do work I love, but it also empowered me to earn a lucrative, consistent living. After I became trained as a coach, I literally doubled my income within 6 months. Within about another year and a half, I doubled it again. This was huge for me because as a writer and as a speaker, I found that my income was often unpredictable. As a coach, it was not. As I built up my practice, I knew what was happening week to week and month to month. And it almost was like I was turning a faucet on and off. I would go write a book and stop coaching for, 3 or 4 months while I was writing and let my clients know. And then I would turn that faucet back on and my clients would come back, or new clients who were waiting would join me in my coaching practice. So the first thing it did is it really empowered me to earn a consistent living. But secondly, it gave me a set of very practical tools that transformed my approach to living. And it really enabled me to navigate some of my life's most difficult personal and professional challenges. So it impacted the people I was working with, but I think for me, even more importantly, it impacted me. It changed me. It made me a better person. And so I really became obsessed with personal growth. I went back to grad school to study a fairly new field called applied positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. And in 2009, just as I was feeling on top of the world, as I had gone back to grad school, finished my graduate degree, my world came crashing down personally. And that was transformative for me. I found myself, like many people, going through divorce, feeling like I was starting my life over completely. But here's the thing. Along with my faith, positive psychology and coaching literally turned what felt like the end for me into a second chance at a new beginning. It did that in a miraculous way, it feels like, but I know that it was because I had the tools as a coach and I had the knowledge as a master of applied positive psychology to make sure that what I was going through, what felt like the end, really became a springboard to more success than I had ever had previously. That is what coaching and positive psychology did for me. And so after that pivotal point in my life, I found myself with my best-selling book to date very shortly after. I found many of the goals and dreams that I had had in my life began manifesting. I had tried literally for 9 years, my publicist and I, pitching the Today Show. I found myself going on the Today Show multiple times, CNN, writing for major publications like Essence and O and Ebony and so many others. But most importantly, I found myself within a few years crossing paths with my soulmate, with the person I truly was meant to be with, and I got married at 40, wondering, would I ever have kids? Would I ever have a family? Which is something I had wanted so much. I became a bonus mom to two wonderful, energetic, beautiful girls. And then Jeff and I became parents to our son, Alex. So for me, I found that a big part of my process for getting to the life that I really wanted was coaching. Not only having my own coaches, which I have for as long as I've been a coach, but also for me to be able to literally practice what I preach. and see all of that begin to come together. So this journey has taken me around the world, literally, speaking and inspiring others using coaching and positive psychology. So I want to share with you what I have learned, what many of our coaches have learned, our faculty of advanced coaches have learned. And I'm going to start here with these 5 mistakes that keep most coaches from earning a high income. These are things that I wish I had known when I started, and I want you to know them now. Take notes. Listen to this as often as possible. If you need to revisit the webinar, set a timer to do it every couple of months, just so that you are reminded of these building blocks, because they're so important. And if you can avoid these mistakes in particular, you will save yourself a lot of time, and you will make more money, and you'll make it faster. So here's the first mistake, and the most common one that I see among aspiring coaches and even coaches that find themselves struggling. They're already working, but they're like, gosh, I want to see this go to the next level. And the first mistake is simply this: not walking the talk. Not walking the talk. A highly successful coach personifies optimal living. I cannot emphasize this enough. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be perfect, but it does mean you need to be courageous. It means that if you've got issues in your life that need to be dealt with, you face them head on. It means that you set big goals for yourself. You muster up those resources. You are open to learning and growing in areas where you need to learn and grow. And if you are unable or unwilling to do that, it will impact your ability to be a highly successful coach, because people are looking at how you live your life as a clue about whether or not you can help them live the life they want to live. And so not walking the talk is huge. And typically no one's going to tell you that it's the reason they're not hiring you. No one's going to say you don't walk the talk. No one's going to look at you and say, you just don't seem that pulled together. No one's going to make the comment that you're always behind doing things, or you haven't set any big stretch goals for yourself. They're just not going to hire you. They're not going to inquire further. They're not going to ask more questions. They're not going to refer business to you. So one of the very first things I want you to pay close attention to, and this can be a hard one, because no one wants to feel like they're not walking the talk. But don't think of it as an indictment on who you are. Think of it as an opportunity to grow and really to become exactly who you want to be. To show up in the world in that way is huge. It's transformative. It will make you quite happy. And you'll reap a lot of benefits from it, because if you're walking the talk, you are going to be seeing results in your life over and over and over again. So, mistake number 1, not walking the talk. I want to share something that we actually talk about more in the Coach Training Intensive, which is our 3-day in-person coach training event. And it is simply this idea that there are 16 traits of a highly effective coach. And I think these are very helpful. You'll notice that the very first one is personifies optimal living. That's the very first one. The others they're all important, but that one is absolutely number 1. Okay, so yeah, you definitely want to personify optimal living. You want to live and truly be present with your clients. You want to be able to communicate purely. You want to be able to accept your client without judgment. That's huge. We talk about all of these things in our training and help you to learn how to do it. You lead thought-provoking conversations. You're able to very quickly zero in on what's most important. You're intuitively curious. This is huge as a coach. You create a learning lab for your client, which is really kind of fun. You expand the client's goals. You help them to stretch. You illuminate the truth, not as an accusation or to hurt, or sometimes we can feel when people call themselves wagging their finger with the truth, it's more of an attack. But in coaching, when we illuminate the truth is the only thing we can really, really do something with in coaching. And so being able to illuminate the truth is an important trait of a highly effective coach. You're able to underscore the client's strengths. You know when to be patient and when to ignite urgency. There's a difference. You invite the client to explore new terrain. They may have come to you for one thing, but as you're coaching, you see that there are other opportunities that may be tremendously important to them. You advocate for their authentic self, because sometimes the client will shy away from what they really want. But if you know what they really want, you can keep them reminded of it, even when they start to fear it. You respect their abilities. And then lastly, you inspire action. These are the 16 traits of a highly effective coach that we really work hard to help our coaches learn and truly embody. These are so important. But again, that number one trait personifies optimal living. So number 2 of the 5 common mistakes, not delivering the benefits that attract quality clients. So a highly effective coach delivers a lot of benefits, and that is what a client pays for. Sometimes the client can't even quite articulate it, but they know they're getting a lot of benefit out of being with that coach. So we also share with you, and again, I'm giving you a sneak peek into some of what we talk about in the Coach Training Intensive, with the 16 benefits of a highly effective coach. There are a lot of benefits, and some of them I have found coaches will kind of underestimate how important they are. We downplay them, we minimize them. It's important not to, because all of these are things that oftentimes our clients are not getting elsewhere, especially clients who are leaders, who are leading other people, who may not have a great sounding board to be totally themselves, totally honest, and get totally honest feedback. So accountability, momentum, breakthroughs, support, planning, structure, focus. Oh my goodness, focus. It's harder than ever in our current world to focus, and coaching helps to provide that. Acceleration, expertise. You have expertise, and oftentimes people will hire a coach that has a particular expertise because their perspective and the way they're going to coach will be influenced by that, and the client will benefit. Solutions, feedback, perspective, brainstorming, affirmation, instruction, and self-coaching. I love self-coaching. I talk about it a lot when I'm writing my books, because I think it's important that all of us learn how to self-coach. We don't always have a coach right there with us, but a highly effective coach is great at helping their clients learn in the heat of the moment when they're dealing with something difficult, trying to make a decision, having to step up to perform. That client knows how to coach themselves to a good place, to the right answer, to a good decision. So all of these are the benefits that a highly effective coach delivers. And one of the biggest mistakes that coaches who struggle make is that they don't deliver enough of these benefits. You ought to deliver at least 10 of these benefits in every single coaching session. Now, that takes a lot of skill. And that's what training provides, is the skill set to be able to do that, and to be able to do it simultaneously, sometimes right there within a coaching session. But that is critical, because when the client is getting a lot of benefit out of your coaching, they are going to want to continue coaching with you. Here's the third mistake: struggling to use direct communication. Struggling to use direct communication. You know, we live in a world where oftentimes direct communication can be frowned upon. People beat around the bush. You might feel uncomfortable stating certain truths or asking questions that feel like maybe you're probing too much. But coaching is really a different type of relationship. And so it is important to be able to be very direct, kind, but direct. You're supportive, you're in your client's corner. So direct communication is about being able to cut straight through to the truth, give them that safe space to be able to deal with truth, even if it's not a truth that they like. Um, Being able to be direct in your communication also means being able to ask questions in the simplest and sometimes most profound way. Um, Not repeating yourself, not stacking questions, meaning asking one question on top of the other before the client has a chance to answer, but being able to be direct. That is what helps to accelerate a client's progress, that we are getting right to what is most important in the most direct way. So highly effective coaching really requires a directness and a clarity that's uncommon in everyday conversation. Um, but keep in mind, a coaching conversation is not an everyday conversation. If your coaching conversation sounds like an everyday conversation, it's probably not that effective. And I say that because in everyday conversation, we're not necessarily moving towards a specific end, moving the person to action. It's not one-sided where it's all about the other person. But in a coaching conversation, it is. And so there's a clarity that comes with all of that that's really, really powerful. And being able to build up strong direct communications skills empowers that. Here's the fourth mistake: not diving beneath the surface. Oh, it is so easy, especially I see this with a lot of new coaches. It's very easy to just stay at the surface level with your coaching. And sometimes the client wants that because sometimes the client might be uncomfortable, or they might not, um, they might have things that they've never even said out loud or really explored. Maybe they haven't given themselves permission to explore some of their other options. And so until you start diving beneath the surface, peeling back the layers, really coaching the essence of the person, not just their ego, but their essence. Who are they really? What do they really want? What's really holding them back from that? What are they not saying? All of those types of questions, start peeling back the layers. And when you're intuitively curious, which is one of the traits of a highly effective coach, it becomes a lot easier to do this. When you're intuitively curious, you notice things that give you clues about where to go next in the coaching conversation. So you may notice that your client is hesitant when they're talking. You may notice that the energy in their voice has changed. For example, suddenly they sound really energetic, and you realize, oh my goodness, I think we've hit on something. I think we've hit on a passion. We've hit on something that's different from what we were just doing, and that's huge. That requires really mindful listening, and it allows you to start digging beneath the surface and help that client to really get to the core of what they want, who they are, what might be holding them back. So when you don't dive beneath the surface, you get surface answers. The problem with surface answers is that they give very short-term solutions. And what ends up happening is your client, yeah, they go away and they take the action that they said, but they know deep down it's not quite hitting the nail on the head. This isn't, there's more to it. And so if that goes on for long enough, they're not getting the benefits out of coaching that they're really there for. And they begin saying, why am I paying to be coached when I don't feel like I'm really digging in and getting the answers that I need and seeing the progress that I really want? And so this goes back to the previous mistake around direct communication. Direct communication helps you to be able to dive beneath the surface. And then here's the fifth common mistake: being afraid to charge what you are worth. Highly effective coaches create highly effective programs for their target audience, and they price those programs accordingly. You cannot be afraid to charge what you are worth. This is huge. It conjures up for some a lot of fear, and that's okay. Fear provides us with a coaching opportunity. I'm telling you, as a coach, you always have coaching opportunities. And so building up a six-figure coaching practice and making that first $10,000 is going to require courage, because you're going to have fear, especially when it comes to money, especially when it's not something that perhaps you've done a lot. You may have had a business of your own before, or you might not have. This might feel completely new, even if you've been super successful on a job or some other type of position. Having a business of your own is different. Having a coaching practice of your own is different. And even if you're within an organization, the benefit that you're bringing to that organization is super valuable. And so you still need to be able to get what you're worth. And so really thinking about that and making sure that you are creating your offering in such a way that your clients want to give you what you're worth and more. We're going to talk about that in just a moment when I share these 5 steps. So that's the 5th common mistake, being afraid to charge what you're worth. I've been there. I've also gotten over it. It took me some time. You know, my core fear is fear of rejection, fear of disapproval. And so you could see how, if that's your core fear, whew, it really comes into play when you're charging other people what you are worth, because you want their approval, you don't want to hear no, and you have to really overcome those types of fears. All right, so I want you to do something right now. I want you to write this down. My dream is possible if I am willing to put in the work, the right work. My dream is possible if I am willing to put in the work, the right work. Now, what I'm about to share is the right work, but it is work. And so I want to stop right here just so you can pause for a moment and reflect on that. This is not a, get rich quick scheme. This is not, oh, snap your fingers 3 times, turn around, and here's what's going to happen. It takes work. It takes persistence, tenacity, and passion. And I believe you have those things, but you will have to conjure them up, and you'll have to make a decision that I want my dream, I want this, and I'm willing to do the work. Because you see, part of becoming a highly effective coach is becoming the kind of person that can manifest her dreams or his dreams. And so putting in the work is a big part of that. There's no one who manifests dreams that doesn't put in a lot of work to do it, that doesn't really believe in the possibility for success enough to do the work that's necessary. So write that down. My dream is possible if I'm willing to put in the work, the right work. So let's talk about what that right work is. I'm going to talk about these 5 steps to generate your first $10,000. Step number 1, set a stretch goal and achieve it. Then do it again and again. So a stretch goal. A stretch goal is a goal that stretches you beyond your comfort zone, okay? It's a goal that when you first think about it, it feels like, oh, I don't know how to do that. How could I do that? Could I do that? And so I don't know what the stretch goal is for you. Stretch goal could be, for example, when I first started coaching, and I literally was coaching with someone, and they were saying, well, what do you want to make? And I said, well, if I could just double my income. And my coach said, you know what? I could bet you could do that in just a few months. Now, at the time, I didn't have a ton of confidence that I could, but that idea intrigued me. And I knew that there were other people who had done that. And I thought to myself, why not me? Why can't I do it? I bet I can. And it was a stretch goal for me. It was a stretch goal, but since I had the goal and I set it and it was very specific, I knew what my income was, I was looking to double it. Because of that, I had a specific number in mind, which meant that I was able to determine what I needed to charge and how many clients I needed in order to double my income within 6 months. And I set out to do just that. Having the goal actually caused me to be creative and specific about how to reach the goal. Your goal could be something totally unrelated to coaching. Your goal could be losing a certain number of pounds, finally getting it off and keeping it off. Your stretch goal could be around paying off a credit card or a car or a student loan. Your stretch goal could be around something at work. Perhaps there is a new skill that you want to learn. You've been thinking about it for a long time and you decide, hey, I want to do this. Hey, maybe your stretch goal is you want to become a coach and you want to do that within the next year. You want to be certified. And so you set that goal right now. And that's your stretch goal. I don't know what it is for you. Stretch goals are different for everyone, but you know what takes you out of your comfort zone. What takes me out of my comfort zone might be a breeze for you, right? It just depends on what our backgrounds are, what our personalities are, what fears we have and don't have. So your stretch goal will look different from those around you, but you know if it stretches you. And the reason I say do it again and again is that once you reach a stretch goal, don't stop there. It ought to give you confidence to then reach for another goal and then another goal. Your stretch goal could be something really, really quick. For example, you might set a stretch goal about improving your appearance. Maybe you feel like it's gotten a little drab, or you could just freshen up your look more modern, whatever it is. And so you decide, you know what, you're going to go for a new hairstyle, you're going to call the salon, make an appointment, you're going to do a makeover, you're going to throw out all those frumpy clothes that you don't like, something that's actually really quick. And it might be enough to give you a boost to then go for a stretch goal that is a little bit lengthier. And so, again, a stretch goal is there for the purpose of you being able to walk the talk, okay? This is an opportunity. Walk the talk. All right. Step number two, deliver useful, easy-to-consume information that is relevant and consistent with a personal touch. Useful, easy-to-consume information that is relevant and consistent. Here's what I mean. Whatever information is relevant for what your particular niche is, right? Who is your audience? Give them information that's useful to them, okay? So I'll give you a simple example. My audience, primarily as a writer and a speaker, has been professional women of faith, okay? So women for whom their faith life is important. They oftentimes are high achievers. It's not necessarily that they're married or single, kids or not, the spectrum there. But they have in common that oftentimes they're stressed. They push themselves very hard, but they are purposeful. They're seeking to know, what is my purpose? How can I live it out even more? So if I'm delivering useful, easy to consume information, one of the ways I deliver that is a weekly newsletter. And over the years, we've gathered up thousands and thousands of people who are on this newsletter list, and I simply share strategies for them. And so I might talk about 3 ways to boost your happiness in under 10 minutes, right? And so that's a blog post, that's a YouTube video, that's something that my audience would love, love, love to hear about. I can talk about 3 things that successful women do differently. I throw out 3 because it's just an easy one to be able to do and do very quickly. The more you provide useful information for your target audience that they actually can act on, it's relevant to where they are, and the information is consistent. Okay, it's not that you do something here and then 2 months later you do something else. You're doing it with some type of rhythm. Your audience begins looking to you as a leader. They begin looking to you as someone who provides solutions. So being able to deliver useful content, and we live in a world where there's so many ways we can deliver that content, via blogs, via social media, using video. People love video today. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's really important to get clear about who your target audience is and what information might be helpful to them. This is free information that allows them to get to know you and allows you to be able to benefit them in some specific way with a solution that helps them to move forward. So here's number 3. Create a quality product that demonstrates the results that you deliver. Okay, so I talked about delivering useful information because that establishes you as an expert, as someone they can look to. But that product takes it to a different level. The product would be focused on helping them get to a particular result, and that could be through a book, an ebook, maybe it's a workshop or a seminar, it could be a video series they can download, an audio program, any format that allows them to actually take one of your solutions and follow it all the way through to the end and get a result. And so this allows them, number one, to be able to become a customer of yours, right? So when I say become a customer, I simply mean this allows them to get their feet wet without necessarily having to spend a lot of money. They're already getting information from you that establishes you and establishes that you can help them move forward, but the quality product allows you to begin earning some passive revenue, and it allows them to get to know you better. It allows them to kind of test out or test drive what it is that you offer. This does not have to be a high dollar offer, but it could be. I mean, it might be, again, it could be something really, really simple like an ebook for $10, or it could be a bigger program. It could be a seminar. It could be some sort of a retreat. This is an offering that you have that becomes almost like your signature offering. And most importantly, it delivers a specific result. So let's say that your audience is small business owners, and you are noticing that your small business owners are really struggling in the area of self-care. And you have come up with a program that's realistic for business owners, because a lot of times they find themselves working at night, working on the weekends, trying to really balance way too much, okay? And so you come up with a way for them very specifically to find time for themselves. This might be that you've been great at marketing, and so you've got some marketing expertise, and so you help them to find ways to market more effectively so that they're able to take some things off of their plate that frees up time. It may be that you have a retreat and they get away, and maybe this retreat is something that happens on a quarterly basis. And so they're basically scheduling their self-care with you. I don't know what the answer is for you, but what I am saying is that you want to be able to have a specific result that you're delivering. Specific result. That's all. So, an ebook, a workshop or seminar, a downloadable video series, an audio program. If you already have a book, this is great because your book becomes a really strong marketing tool. Seminars and workshops, again, very strong marketing tools because they're already experiencing you. And then on top of that, when they're done experiencing you in that workshop format, they're going to say, oh, I need some one-on-one, and there's your coaching. All right, so create a quality product that demonstrates the results you deliver. Number 4, stop thinking in terms of services you offer and think in terms of the outcome you deliver. So you hear me talking about this a lot, but this is particularly important for how you are able to charge more for your services. Oftentimes, we will talk about providing coaching, but what you really provide is a way to solve an important problem for your audience and packaging it in a way that speaks to their needs. Now, you may see as I talk about each of these steps that they're just going a little bit deeper. First, you're providing some just basic information, 3 steps, as I mentioned, 3 steps to be able to overcome whatever that particular issue is. And so you're just giving them easy information. It might be a blog post or a video, right? And that just gives them a taste that you offer solutions. It positions you well. Next, you're saying, well, if you thought that was good, you might want to buy into this product, this event, this seminar, this service that I offer. But next, we're really diving into talking about the coaching services that you provide. And many people don't fully understand what coaching is. So it's important to talk about your coaching in terms of the outcome you deliver, because people will pay for an outcome. They will pay you for an outcome. They will pay you to have less stress. They will pay you to double the size of their business. They will pay you in order to learn a specific skill. They will pay you to overcome their fear and negotiate better. They will pay you for outcomes. And the reason this is so critical is because outcomes are measurable. And sometimes it's hard to put a specific number on it, but people can look at that and say, oh, if I was able to free up all that emotional energy from my anxiety and my fear of going for my dream, oh, I can't even put a price tag on that. But if it is something that is very specific, let's say that you have a background in a particular type of business and you know how to lead people to success in that business, and success for them looks like a specific amount of revenue or a specific number of customers, bam, you can actually articulate that in terms of how much money it is worth. And when you're able to do that, you're able to charge more for your services because they realize, hey, I'm not paying for coaching, I'm paying for the outcome that coaching will bring me. So figure out what the problem is that your audience most needs solved, and then package that solution in a way that speaks to their needs. This might mean that you have a 3-month program that leads them to the outcome. It might be a 12-month program. It might be a 6-session program. I don't know what it looks like. It might be something that's ongoing depending on the kind of support that you are going to offer. But make it very easy for them to see that if they participate in your coaching program, here is the outcome they will receive. This is huge because most coaches talk in terms of, yeah, I do coaching, and people don't understand what they're delivering. Be clear about what it is that you solve, what problem it is you solve for clients, and your clients will become clear about why they need you. So I want you to make sure that you're walking the talk. I want you to be consistent and providing really good, relevant, consistent information that helps your clients, prospective clients, to be able to move forward. I want you to make sure that you are giving them or have an opportunity for them to engage with a quality product or service that demonstrates the results you deliver. That quality product or service doesn't get them necessarily to the point of the one-on-one coaching, but it does deliver tangible results, skills, solves a problem. And that's really, really huge. This becomes your entree into them becoming a full coaching client. Think of it like this. Oftentimes when you are thinking about making a big purchase, you want to try test driving that. I know I've had the opportunity to, think through a new automobile purchase. And then when I'm traveling, I decide, you know what? I'm going to rent the kind of car that I'm thinking about, and I'm going to drive it for a couple of days, right? It's not buying the car. It's just spending a much smaller amount of money to test it out. That is what that product or service provides. It gives them greater exposure to you and what you're able to help them do, gets them inspired, gets them moving forward, and starts to provide some of those results that they're looking for. And then next, you're going to stop thinking in terms of just, I offer coaching, and start thinking in terms of, I offer outcomes. If you want this outcome, I am the coach that can help you to get there. And you package that in a way that really speaks to them and the outcomes that they want. And then here's the last one, and this really helps you to get to the point that you can do all of those things. You invest in your training to become a highly effective professional coach with an evidence-based foundation in success and well-being. Now, here's what I mean by that. We all need to be trained, and coaching is still considered a fairly new field. I mean, life coaching and executive coaching as a term, as a profession with professional associations and so forth, is about 25 years old. That's really, really new. That also means that there are no licensing requirements, which means there are no training requirements, although trained coaches are far more successful and effective. So it's important to be able to understand what are the things that really enable success and well-being. Positive psychology is the study of just that. So having a foundation of positive psychology, the study of what happens when things go right with people, what happens when we live optimally, is a fantastic background for being able to be a great coach. Secondly, being able to understand the discipline of coaching, what to do, what not to do, how to successfully and effectively navigate your coaching sessions with clients. All that requires training, really good training. And so often, I know that I did this myself, we can kind of hesitate. Do I really need it? Do I really want to make the investment? And my answer to you is yes. Um, I spent a lot of time analyzing and thinking and hesitating about making the investment. But what I can tell you is this: as soon as I made the investment to become trained as a coach, number one, I realized I could stop reinventing the wheel, which is what I was doing. I had access to so much information and so many resources that really empowered me as a coach. And lastly, I gained a lot of confidence as a coach because I knew what I was doing. And so professionals are trained. And so I highly encourage you, if you want to generate that first 10,000 and move on to generating six figures, become trained as a coach. Really look at this in a professional way and make that decision to make the leap and to get trained. So what now? You've thought about coaching, obviously, you're still with me. If you really want it, if you're really willing to put in the work, not only will you transform the lives of others, but you're going to transform your own life in the process. It's impossible not to transform your own life while becoming a coach. It is impossible not to take your own life to a new level. I have found through our years and years of providing training for coaches that the most common feedback we get for our coaches is, I thought I was coming to be trained as a coach, but this changed me as a person. This improved my relationships. I had breakthroughs in relationships that had had issues for 5, 10 years. I finally made the leap. I quit my job and I am actually doing it. I'm learning how to fly as an entrepreneur. I'm doing this thing. Because it's impossible to study coaching and positive psychology and not have it completely impact who you are. Coaching is a lifestyle. So I just want you to know something. If this is what you want, you can do this. You're the only one who can make the decision, but you can do it. I want to share with you a few people who have. Some of our graduates at the coach training intensive, and many who have also gone through our certified personal and executive coach program, which is the follow-up to our coach training intensive. Jennifer Lewis made the leap from Fortune 500 manager to a full-time coaching business of her own. That's a pretty big deal when you work your way up in a Fortune 500 company to make the entrepreneurial leap. It can feel like there's not as much of a safety net, but sometimes we really feel called towards it, and so we have to. And that's what she's been able to do. Dr. Nick Cooperluder, he and his wife both are university professors. He's an author. They went through our coach training programs together. And the goal there was transitioning to coaching post-retirement. We have many people who know that they have so much to offer post-retirement, and so they don't see themselves not working at all, but they want to be able to have flexibility and work on their own terms and take all those years of experience to make an impact on others. And so that's what Dr. Cooperluder is doing. Charlena Ortiz went through our program at 24 years old, one of our youngest graduates ever. But you know what? Age is just a number. It's also her target audience. She targets millennials. You can find her on Instagram at Grit and Virtue. Um, I love Charlena's example because her spirit is just so energetic, and her confidence, I believe, off the charts. But part of that, I think, really comes in being dedicated to your work. And part of being dedicated to your work is being willing to be trained. Stephanie Weicker, she turned a passion for wellness into a profitable business. Again, someone who's worked a lot with her own husband, who's a fitness guru, but being able to not just turn that into a business, become a certified personal and executive coach through the CAP Institute, but also becoming a credential coach through the International Coach Federation using the education and training that she received through the CAP Institute. So let me ask you this. What made you download this webinar today? Something motivated you, and I'm wondering what that is. And here are a few guesses that I have. You want to make it happen, but perhaps you feel overwhelmed about where and how to start. Maybe people tell you all the time that you're a coach, but you've never actually been trained as a coach. You want to prepare for a career or a business transition. Or perhaps you just don't want to waste any more time thinking about it. That was me. And you want to choose a proven program that's strategic but simple and gives you a blueprint for success. So here's the obvious question. And I'm wondering if you're asking this question: what do I need to do to become a highly effective coach and earn a fantastic living doing it? Get three options. You can keep searching, planning, stalling. So many people do that. You can reinvent the wheel, like I tried to for a long time, and try to figure it out on your own without training. Or, like I said, you can choose a proven program that's strategic but simple and gives you a blueprint that you can follow. I want to invite you to join me and our phenomenal team of highly effective six-figure coaches, that's who we hire, for the Coach Training Intensive. Our Coach Training Intensive is so phenomenal, and it leads you to the opportunity, it's the prerequisite for our Certified Personal and Executive Coach program, which is our 6-month live online program. So the Coach Training Intensive is the best way to gain advanced coaching skills rooted in the research of applied positive psychology, to learn to facilitate big results for your clients and create a practical action plan to earn significant income as a coach while transforming your own life. That's what the Coach Training Intensive is. We have had so many, hundreds and hundreds, go through our Coach Training Intensive. We host it here in the Atlanta area. And here's what you get when you go through the Coach Training Intensive. You get 22 accredited coach-specific training hours approved by the International Coach Federation, which is the basically the association for professional coaches in the industry. It's the foremost organization, and we submit our program to the ICF for their approval. You get key knowledge from applied positive psychology and the insight to use positive psychology tools to create a more powerful coaching experience. You also get our 178-page information-packed workbook. You're going to refer back to this over and over and over again. You're going to take lots of notes in it, things that are going to help you over your entire career as a coach. You're going to keep this for years to come, because it reminds you of who you are as a coach, what empowers you to be a really effective coach, and it's a tool that I believe is really irreplaceable. You'll also get the CAP Institute's 49-page business development workbook, which will become your blueprint for launching or relaunching, if you're already a coach, your coaching practice. In the third day of our Coach Training Intensive, we actually guide you through all of the key steps to building a successful coaching practice. And so that 49-page workbook is just for the third day. So we have a blast at the Coach Training Intensive. It is intense. There's 3 of us as trainers. We do live, what I call laser coaching, so that you actually see highly effective coaching in action. It's very interactive. You're going to be there with a cohort of other coaches. You're going to be actually coaching live starting on that first day. No worries. Most people haven't done a lot of coaching before. Sometimes we have coaches, though, who've gone through and have been coaching for years that decide to come through our program. And so they're not as nervous about the idea of coaching, but just know that when you come, if you've not coached before, it's not a problem. We do a lot of Q&A, a lot of time making sure all of your questions get answered by the end of that 3-day coach training intensive. We have fun. You are going to make lifelong friends. I mean, there are just ways that we connect and we facilitate your connection that are super powerful. And lots of time, as you can see here, actually coaching live. We love doing coaching labs right in the middle of the coach training intensive. So we're teaching you the tools, and then we are kind of putting you out there to actually begin practicing and using those tools. So we've got some bonuses, okay, that come when you register for the Coach Training Intensive. We give you downloadable and hard copies of all of my actual coaching forms, welcome letters, coaching agreements, policies and procedures, checklists, and cheat sheets. These are the things that will help you get started right away without the hassle of trying to reinvent the wheel. We really like to share these tools with you so that you can just edit them and adjust them to meet your needs and just say it in the way that perhaps you want to say it. But we don't want you having to spend a lot of time on these things. I spent a lot of time on these things when I first got started. And this way, with this bonus, you don't have to. You also get access to our members-only private Facebook group, so you can continue connecting with your fellow members after CTI. So let me just share with you briefly what you're going to learn, what those modules are. So module number 1 is the critical skills of a highly effective coach. So we give you a very strong foundational understanding of the 3 critical skills that are necessary for effective coaching sessions that get results. We want to start you off on a very strong, solid foundation so that you have that foundation for your growth as a developer of people and a facilitator of success and results. So we start off in Module 1 helping you understand what those critical skills are and how you can exercise those critical skills. Module 2, we give you a structure for your coaching session. We call it the ACERA model. This is specific to the CAP Institute. It is revolutionary because it really makes the process easier. We demystify the process of a powerful coaching session by giving you a structure that you will use in each and every session. It's simple, but it's really powerful. And it's invisible to your clients. So your clients don't know what ACERA is. They don't need to know. But as the coach, you know, which means it's guiding your communication. It's helping you create a safe and strong space for your client to get clarity, to get solutions, and to move to action to see real results immediately. And I can tell you this, we have had coaches go through our program who have been coaching 10 or 15 years or longer who did not have this type of structure. And when they got the structure, the light bulb just went off and their coaching went to a completely new level. And we're talking about coaches who've been really good at coaching. Our structure makes it easy to understand where you are in the session. You never get lost, and you understand how to guide your clients to explore what they need and to get to a place of action. This is the fun stuff. This is really, really good stuff. Module 3, we start on the elements of well-being. So this is your introduction to positive psychology module. You will learn the research-based 6 elements of well-being and how they can boost your and your client's ability to overcome challenges, to reach goals faster, and build higher levels of happiness. Module 4 is about direct communication. You will remember I said this is one of the big mistakes, one of the 5 big common mistakes that coaches make. They're not direct in their communication. And so we're going to teach you the 8 distinct listening traits and 7 consistent behaviors that build trust. And perhaps most importantly, we're going to share the one irrefutable habit every successful coach practices without fail. It's the habit that invokes fear in every coach, and it's most likely to sabotage your success as a coach. We help you to work around that habit. We'll show you how to overcome the fear so that you can break through to a level of coaching that most coaches never attain. Module 5. Module 5 is about character strengths in action. This is huge. Understanding strengths. What are they? What are the 6 categories of universally celebrated strengths? Will help you identify your own signature strengths and begin to leverage those to fulfill your purpose. And then we show you the keys to being able to identify strengths in others. This is a really important skill for a coach, and a very powerful one to be able to create and help create shifts for your client. And so we're going to talk about what those are and help you better understand how to use them for a more effective coaching session. Module 6 is about coaching for resilience. So you're going to learn to build the unique kind of self-awareness that dramatically increases resilience. And you'll learn the 3 critical pieces of information that are foundational for building resilience. So we really break down the steps for thinking differently and show you how to apply those steps to pivotal moments in a coaching session. When I talked very early in this webinar about really restarting my life and going to the next level, coaching for resilience was a huge part of what empowered that for me. What empowered me to literally transform my life from what seemed like it was the end to the beginning of something so incredible that it was beyond what I actually was even hoping for. So the Coaching for Resilience module is powerful for you, but over and over again, you're going to find that it's very powerful for your clients. And then module 7 is our last module. What makes coaching work is that it moves the client to action. It's not a coaching session if your client's not moving forward. And so the added accountability of a coach and that forward movement is a really powerful combination. So you're going to learn key phrases, tools, and insights that inspire action and create the consistent accountability that makes you a tremendously valuable asset to any client. So those are our 7 modules. So in just 3 days, going through those 7 modules, plus your business development day, you're gonna accomplish quite a bit. One, you're gonna earn a certificate in personal development coaching from the CAP Institute. You are going to actively coach individuals in a cohort of your peers during live coaching labs using our Acera model. You're going to eliminate your coaching anxiety and build the confidence to create real results for your clients. And you will create a detailed and personalized business development plan to launch or relaunch your coaching practice. So you're going to accomplish quite a bit. Here's the other stuff you're going to accomplish. You're actually going to complete the prerequisite training that qualifies you for our CPEC program. CPEC stands for Certified Personal and Executive Coach. That program is our 6-month live virtual training that you can attend from anywhere. So in CPEC, after CTI, you've got that 6 months of training. If you choose to enroll in CPEC, it's not a requirement. If you choose to register for it, you will be participating in our twice-a-week 1-hour classes where you log in and you are live in class. Live audio, talking back and forth, coaching live, being able to chat with your classmates and instructors. You'll also experience your own breakthroughs during these 3 days as you're coached by your peers. And you're going to connect with an amazing group of like-minded professionals who share your passion for excellence and for serving the world. So 3 days. I would love for you to join us. The Coach Training Intensive is a life-changing event. Now, I promised you that in making it to the end, I had something for you, our ultimate list of coaching niches and markets. And so on this page, you will see a link to download this bonus. I think it will give you some ideas of the niches and markets that might just be perfect for you, that perhaps you haven't even thought of, or maybe some that will validate what you have been thinking. If you are ready, or thinking even further about registering for the Coach Training Intensive, all you have to do is go out to our website and enroll, capinstitute.com. Listen, I feel so confident about our Coach Training Intensive and what we provide that I absolutely know that if you come, you're going to get more than what you were expecting. So I really hope that you will join us. We would love to have you. I would love to be able to see you connect with fellow coaches, grab all the knowledge and all the information and all the confidence that's available to you. All you have to do is go to capinstitute.com/enroll. I can't wait to see you. Thanks so much for joining us for how to generate your first $10,000 as a personal or executive coach. It's possible. Your first step, I really believe, is making sure you're trained and professional, and we would love to help you get there. Bye-bye.